Find out from you. ZANU-PF acting spokesperson Patrick Chinamasa said that those who opposed the liberation struggle and also those who opposed the land reform program should not dream to run Zimbabwe and do not deserve to take leadership in Zimbabwe. What do you take? What do you understand from this statement, and what does it mean to democracy in Zimbabwe?
Well, I think I'm not sure who Mr. Chinamasa was referring to, because I think the MDC has always been clear that it was pro the liberation struggle, and Mr. Changirai, right from the get-go, supported the land reform program but was against the methods that were used. If you go back in history to the statements that he used, he was very against the methods that were being used. I think it's a political statement by Mr. Chinamasa. The ZANU-PF, as usual, is using scare tactics to try and eliminate political opponents. The Constitution is very clear. You know, anyone who wins an election is entitled to govern in Zimbabwe. And I think ZANU-PF is betraying its DNA as usual. You know, that they won't respect the outcome of a free and fair election, which is why they continue to oppose electoral reforms. You know, they want to be the arbiter, you know, the decider of who governs Zimbabwe and who doesn't. They want to be the gatekeepers of power. What they don't realize is that political power lies in the people, and what we continue to emphasize as the MDC Alliance is that, you know, governance is about putting the people first. Power is not about holding power for power's own sake. Holding power is about improving people's lives. ZANU-PF has run Zimbabwe to the ground. Look at the education crisis. Look at the state of doctors in the country. You know, the militarization of the medical profession. It's a sad state of affairs. Look at the economy. You know, the depth of the national crisis, the evidence of it is everywhere for people to see. 8.6 million Zimbabweans face mass starvation. This is after the land reform program that they speak of. The manner in which they conducted it is completely wrong. They disrespected property rights, and, you know, as a government in waiting, we say that there should be reforms to the electoral process, and the best man, woman should be allowed to govern. The Constitution should be upheld. It should be respected, because as things stand, Mr. Mnangagwa is illegitimate. His government is illegitimate, which is why we see a parliament in complete crisis. They've installed a stooge opposition, and this attempt to return, you know, Zimbabwe to one party rule should be completely fought, you know, by all, you know, progressive Zimbabweans, and that's the fight we'll continue to champion as the MDC Alliance.
In the past, the late General Zinawashe and security officials said that the presidents of Zimbabwe is a straitjacket, and you hear these statements being repeated, sort of the same statement being repeated by Patrick Chinamasa. Does this signal any movement back to militarization in your view?
In our view, the Constitution must be upheld. I beg your pardon. You know, the electoral reforms must be put in place, and whoever wins a free and fair election must be allowed to win. That's what we mean as the MDC Alliance, that there must be a return to legitimacy and democracy in Zimbabwe, so that, you know, Zimbabweans can go back to living lives where they've got freedom, fairness, and opportunity.
But can Zimbabweans believe in elections when you have governing party saying such statements like that? Because who they believe opposed the liberation struggle or opposed the land reform, in their view, is not supposed to govern. That's what they say.
Zimbabweans must believe in elections, but elections where there's root and branch reform. That's the struggle we're fighting for. And I think if we've learned anything from the coup that took place in 2017, is that the system of ZANU-PF is rotten to the core, the entirety of it, not a single individual. The whole thing needs to be reformed. You know, the entirety of it, ZANU-PF, all of it must go, including Mr. Chinamasa.
Any words on the postponement of by-elections indefinitely?
That's completely unconstitutional. You can see what ZANU-PF is playing at there. They've recalled our MPs, then they say, you know, we can't go to elections. They know that Kupe could never win an election. That's why they're trying to ban by-elections. It's unconstitutional. Section 159 of the Constitution says that once there's a vacancy in an elected position, it must be filled within 90 days. Mr. Chiwenga can't ban elections, usurping a clear constitutional provision. That's unconstitutional, and civic society has spoken on it. As the MDC Alliance, we've spoken on it. It's a matter of regret that, you know, there's this clear bludgeoning of democracy, including the clear capture of state institutions, including the role of the Speaker of Parliament and, you know, other institutions that have been captured, you know, to completely do violence to our democratic institutions. Zimbabwe has become a violent fascist state.
And are you going to do anything about these by-elections? Are you going to approach the court? Are you going to...
You know, strategy must never be discussed with the media, but I think, like I always say, we'll fight this and we'll fight it politically.
Thank you very much
Thank
for that.
you.
Thank you.